What's going on? Welcome to this next business YouTube video. We are going to be going through why your sales team isn't printing money yet, okay? So, if you are on this channel for the first time, very quick introduction. My name is Scott, evidently. I have run some pretty big high-ticket sales names in the space. So I was Iman Gadzhi's sales manager for around 2 years. I ran Ashton Hall's high-ticket offer, currently running William Brown's team, and I ran a bunch of other large teams as well. But those three names in specific definitely stand out. So let's dive in. We're going to go through how to get your sales team to actually print money, okay? So whether it's yourself that you want to come in and just fix these leaks that you have, or whether you're like a lot of other individuals that are like, I'd rather just have someone that knows the drill and is going to be able to execute on this and scale violently, which is where I come in. We'll go through some of the principles to how we can make sure we have a sales team that is going to dominate. Okay, so first section right here. We have what I would call catalyst reps versus dragging reps or drag reps, okay? So what is the difference? Should be fairly self-explanatory, but let me break it through, okay? These people, they do not hit quota. Stay with me. What I mean by they do not hit quota, you can probably hear my WhatsApp pinging in the background, like we're unprofessional on this channel, okay? I mean that they don't even have this as a fucking thing. Like, oh, we got to hit quota, okay? They raise the standard for what this would even mean, okay? So they are constantly the individuals that are just raising the standard, right? They are the people that will allow your team to recalibrate what is possible. So honestly, 90% of the times when I take over a new team, that's the first big domino that I will do. I'll bring on someone who is going to be an A-player closer so that we set a brand new baseline of a standard, because they don't know what they don't know. Okay, and if you can teach a dog, you know, new tricks or whatever, teach an old dog new tricks, but like only up to a certain point. I'd rather just not teach the dog anything and bring in a fucking bear. And then we'll see if the dogs rise to the occasion, right? And they can like, you know, grow into that role. But it's very difficult to turn a dog into like a fucking machine of a bear without really getting that reference point, okay? And I will be the reference point. I come in and I take some sales calls myself and I show them how it should be, but they need that constant competitiveness, okay? So we need someone that is a catalyst for your offer, okay? They will recalibrate what is possible just because of how they operate, okay? Whereas most sales reps are drag sales reps. They're dragging things along, okay? So what does this mean, okay? I want to break it very clearly down, okay? Because every single sales rep on your team is either printing or they are draining. They're either printing you money or they are literally draining you money. This is one of the most expensive roles to have in the business. And there's this misconception of like, well, I'm just paying them commission, so it's not bad at all. If you've got a 10K package and someone takes 18 calls, and I'm actually speaking this from like recent experience, 18 calls and you've got a 10K package and they close 0 deals, that is $180,000 of opportunity cost. Now, I'm very aware that, you know, most closers will not have 100% close rate, but obviously even if we just half it, that's still $90,000 of lost money for your business. So you tell me if $90,000 in a month isn't an expensive mishire, because I would argue it definitely fucking is, okay? So this is what I want to be thinking about, okay? Are they printing or are they draining, okay? And there are numerous things to how we can track if this is hitting and happening, okay? So the first one right here is this. So the way I would look at this is like, are they raising the ceiling, right? Are they raising what is actually possible? What is the standard, okay? So that's like number one, raising the ceiling. Number two, are they running / operating without having to be chased or without having to be babysat, okay? Because if you're going and you're being that person right now that is constantly reminding them to do like the basic essentials, okay? Like, oh, could you fill out your tracker? Okay, all of this shit. Oh, would you be able to follow up with these people? Oh, could you show up on this team meeting with a little bit more energy? I'm just noticing you're a little down right now, right? It's like, fuck that, okay? They should be managing themselves better than most managers do. And that's something that you can instill into people, but it's more of a characteristic of that individual, okay? And if you look at, I think it was a recent reel that Alex Hormozi done, he talks about it on there. He said, like, if your company has to basically make rules around what should be obvious, you've got some really, really bad members on your team, right? If you're like, hey, like make sure you don't drink on the job, it's like that should just be a no-brainer. But there are so many different types of workplaces, maybe not in the high tickets online space, I hope, which have to almost give that as a rule. Hey, make sure you show up on time. How is that a rule that needs to be enforced? It's mind baffling to me, okay? So are they actually operating? Okay, are they managing themselves at a higher level than you would basically be able to manage them, because you can't sit and watch a human being 24 hours a day, okay? Number 3 is that they don't leak in other areas. We'll just say no leakage, which sounds a little weird, but what I mean with this is like their work doesn't get held back by life happens, because this will always be the case. Life will always happen. And we've all seen people who this thing happens, right? Life happens and they just crumble and their performance dips and they're in bad moods and they're upset and they're this and they're that and they're just no accountability, no ownership. They're not able to handle any form of misalignment in their life. And as a result, you have to pay the price, okay? So are they getting affected by relationship drama, by poor health decisions, by low standards that they've set for themselves, right? Because what we then see on a call is supported obviously by who they are off the call. So all of this life happens stuff will bleed into every single opportunity that you have on the calendar. And obviously that's where we talk about opportunity cost, because if every call is worth potentially 10,000 for you, that's a lot of people getting affected just because of this, okay? So it's something to be very, very careful of, okay? I'm going to keep going very, very in depth on this, but I want to just almost outline the difference first between Catalyst and drag reps before I go into some more tactical things, okay? So number 4, are they adding energy or are they draining energy? Okay, because if they're adding energy or if they're actually creating tension, you've got a really bad person in your team, okay? They should be the person where when they're around, it's almost just reassuring, okay? Like they're coaching others. They're raising the energy, the vibe, right? They're solving problems. They're not just creating a bunch of problems, right? They're the kind of rep that like you would gladly go on a night out and have a ton of beers with, but then you would also allow them to speak at your wedding, or you would allow them to, you know, whatever it might be. You take them to war and then you go to a fucking fancy dinner straight after, right? That type of person, okay? And then the last thing, before we go into some extra things here, is that they are stable in their performance and they are not emotionally volatile, right? Because, and this is a little different to what I'm talking about here, right? So this is like no leakage, right? They're like, these are things that are affecting them. This is kind of a byproduct of it, but like if you're seeing their performance and it's kind of, you know, it's okay here and then it dips, right? And then they kind of pick things up, but then it dips again. And it's just this, right? Like this is like a week of money gone, right? This is like, you know, fucking 2 weeks, and then you will even have like, you know, 1 day or half a day, and it stacks, and it is so much money across a year, okay? So this is the goal, right? These are the things we want to be looking for in a Catalyst sales rep, okay? Because what we often don't think about, let's say there's a rep that is bringing in 80K, that barely says 8, but whatever, a month, right, for you at the moment. A closer, they're bringing in 80,000 for you at the moment. If they need daily motivation to even be able to hit this though, they're actually costing you a shit ton more than the guy that's doing 40K, and all they needed was a little bit of intention setting and basically like, you know, maybe one key area of them just unlocked, right? The right person to be able to align them to a higher version of themselves so that they can just ride the momentum that is within them, right? So we often don't think about it. We put so much attention and focus into this person, but, and I've seen this, I actually saw this on a really, really large offer. I didn't end up managing it. One closer, dominating the leaderboards, really, really poisonous for the team. Hated the offer, had been there for years, was sick of it, right? He was just complaining all the time. Like, think how much money he could have been making if he wasn't doing all those things. But he was having such a bad knock-on effect onto the setters, onto the other closers. It was just terrible, okay? So you have to understand that, like, sometimes we actually want to reassess and re-put energy into a different vessel, because that's going to be the person that can actually take your offer to the next place. Because whilst they're doing more right now, what if they could be the people that are doing 150K a month, but we just aren't giving them the time and resources that they actually need, okay? So the next section is around the different perspective to this, okay? So what you might have is basically a locked vault. And this is really linking into what we were discussing just then, right? compared to a vending machine. You'd stay with me, okay? So this is a vending machine. This is a locked vault, right? So I really want to break that down a little bit more. Locked vault, right? There might be quiet. This was me. When I joined Iman's team and I became a closer, this was literally me in a nutshell. A little bit more reserved, wasn't speaking up on team meetings all those times, so I was quiet, I was low profile, right? A vault doesn't give you anything. It's just a big fucking thing with a lock code on it. But if you know how to open it, all of the values inside of there, okay? When you crack it, it has life-changing value. And once it's accessed, it becomes the most productive, the most profitable, the most powerful asset in your team, okay? The vending machine, they're like the flashy people. This is why I very rarely hire sales reps who bark a lot, because they're all shit. Oh, yeah, like I'm the best fucking closer on the team, and I know that they're talking out their ass, okay? So, and these are common mistakes that you will make, like, as a business owner. If you haven't hired just hundreds of sales reps like I have, you won't even know what to spot for these things. People can say, right, gift of the gab, right? People can say a million things, but the truth and the reality of what performance will actually be like can be very, very different, okay? So these are the people that are just, you know, they're flashy, they're making a ton of noise. You might even get some quick level of rewards from them. They might come in and they'll close a few deals, and then their ego boosts even higher, and we just think, okay, cool, they are the real deal, and then they just start causing nightmares and headaches and all kinds of stuff, okay? So that is like when it is a vending machine, right? It looks like it's working until it's fucking empty. or the thing jams, or the machine breaks, or whatever, right? It's like, that's no longer useful, okay? When it breaks down, you realize it was never really like an impressive machine to begin with, okay? So most business owners, they're just managing vending machines, right? They're just kind of pushing some buttons, doing a few random call reviews, hoping they get some money, right? It's just all bullshit. Your goal should be to identify these locked vaults, because there is a lot of the time just very, very dormant potential within them, okay? And if we can get into that and crack the combination for them, then we can unlock some serious revenue potential in what you are doing, okay? I focus a lot less on experience. I focus a lot more on energy transference, how they're going to show up. I might trial them. I'll do a bunch of different things that will actually test who they are and whether they're congruent to the types of things that they are telling me, okay? So the next thing that we need to be focusing on, right? You need to identify the vault, right? So maybe it's the rep that is slightly underperforming now. It's probably not your bottom rep, but it might be someone that they're not fully performing, okay? But there is that little bit of depth to them as a character, right? Because you can't motivate like a vending machine into growing, but a vault, that's when we unlock the exponential upside, okay? Your job is to understand the combination. So like there's different leadership qualities that you'll need from this. Because some people, and this is something I'm definitely very good at on teams, some people need a really, really, really brutal awakening, right? Like we lay out all the numbers, we let them know exactly what's it cost. We tap into like the future version of themselves that they're letting down by how they're showing up right now. Like we can get like that. Or other people, they respond to more of that, like, I'm on the same side of the table as you, I'm putting my arm around you, that type of leadership. We need to be able to read them. How do they actually like to work? And to be honest, most of that can come through a very down-to-earth conversation. For us to actually identify what is the type of way that they receive feedback the best, and what is kind of stopping them from right now from matching to the top closer or from scaling their own revenue, whatever it might be, okay? So this is the biggest thing, right? We need to have this conversation with them, set a new baseline, okay? We start to lean on them a little bit more. And you'll realize, and this is what I was as a closer, which is why I can talk about this and probably why I can identify it so well as well, is like that person has so much drive and hunger in them that they're going to start to set a new standard because you kind of unleash the shackles that they were in, okay? They may not be the person that is like fighting to get out of the cage, but they're the person where if you like politely let them out of the cage, they're going to massacre everyone. So it's like, we need to be able to understand how that works directly, okay? So next one is, how can we actually take this person and convert them into this and ensure that they have the right qualities and that we're doing the right things, okay? So the first thing is that we need to be asking them, not telling them. So these are more managerial qualities, right? So not telling them. The biggest issue you'll have is telling someone, hey, that was a shit call, for example, right? It's like, Instead, we're going through the call. Hey, we are just coming towards the end of discovery now. Where do you feel like that call lost its momentum? Where do you feel like that call fell apart? Right? Like, we're asking them, right? We don't say, hey, next time you need to do this. That's a very rare time that I will tap into that, only when really needed. We need to be asking them, okay? Because we are allowing them to step up as an individual. So this is one of the most important things here. It's because questions, just like in a discovery, this is all exactly the same. Questions help them come to the realizations, right? Not us. We don't just tell them the realization. We help them come to their own light bulb moment. Because if we can truly understand what's been holding them back and where the leaks are within their process, and they come to that realization themselves, we can guide them out of it because they were the ones that told us, right? So a very old mentor, right, when I first joined Demand's team, which was Paul Daly, so the CEO, used to use this line, stuck with me for life. If it comes from your mouth, it's shit. If it comes from their mouth, it's gold. That isn't really a sales principle. It is, but it's kind of an everything principle, right? In a relationship, if you just tell someone, hey, this is how it's going to be, it's shit. If it's in a sales management dynamic, it's shit. You have to get them to tell you and to voice it out themselves, okay? So, first one, we're asking, not telling them. Next one is leading, okay? They're not just going to open up for any random old schmuck that shows up on the team, which is why I can typically get a lot of buy-in from a team that I take over, is because I'm someone that is kind of walk the walk. And I'm worth trusting, okay? You have to be the person that they want to follow. This is such an important thing to understand because a lot of managers in this day and age, they were shit at closing, so then they just stepped into a managerial position because they felt like it's less pressure in the sense of like you're not on live sales calls with a stranger trying to close the deal, and that there's kind of that tension in there, right? It's like, oh, I'm just going to manage my team and I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing anyway, but it's okay, right? This is like a scapegoat. So you have to be someone that they would actually follow and someone that is worth trusting, right? And that stems from like, what type of life are they living? Okay, are you living like some schmuck life and, you know, you're not ever pushing yourself and you've just kind of been closeted your whole life? That isn't the natural characteristic of someone that anyone would follow ever, okay? So they're never going to unlock for you, right? If we talk about the vault, they're not going to unlock for you basically, okay? Now, next one is proving it, which is why I said right at the beginning, when I take over an offer, a lot of the times I will jump onto multiple sales calls. And if I don't do that, because let's just say there are already good closers and I need to just optimize and tweak them, I will still be very, very engaged in the role plays that we might do and the different kind of like coaching and the call reviews. And they can just tell that I'm very sharp because I'm like, hey, here's some ways that some extra questions that we maybe could have said, right? So like we're going down and it's like, boom, you've done amazing here. This part was great. We'll do like the shit sandwich. This part was great. You went into the right area here. We're starting to hit on opportunity cost. Here's how we could have dug even deeper and really got them to feel the void, right? And I'm like going through and I'm showing how sharp I am, okay? Same thing with like appointment setters. If I go into a team, there's some random dialer on there. He's not very good. Boom, let me just do a day of dialing. I'm going to show you how to fucking dominate this. And I will triple, quadruple the amount of sets that are being booked in that singular day. I set a new baseline, I set a new standard, those calls become reference points, they can go back to them, they can understand where my energy is, all of this stuff, okay? So it's so important that you prove it in the arena, okay? Because if they've never seen you sell, they'll never believe that you can. So jump on a call, run their fucking discovery and close their ass. That's how you're gonna be able to win them over, okay? This is one of the biggest things that gets missed, okay? Because most managers don't even have that skill set developed. So then they're just hiding behind some like shitty little tracking data or whatever. Like I do tracking. I think it's very important to run a team. We need to know what's going on it. It's not the make or break. It's not the thing that will dictate the trajectory of your sales team. It's a tool. It allows me to have better visibility towards where the truth of things really are, but I can feel where the truth of things really are 90% of the time anyway, okay? And then the next thing is all about alignment, right? As human beings, we all are searching for something, right? I've said this on a couple of other videos before. We're all looking for that other thing, right? That thing, that why, basically. Okay, there's so many videos on like, if you have a why big enough, you can do anything, okay? I think Nietzsche talks about it, like he who bears any why, he who has a why can bear anyhow. Yeah, there we go, something to that effect, okay? So this is understanding that they probably don't care that much about the company goals. They care more about their goals and then how the company goals can act as a bridge to those things. And we have to be very specific in how we frame that, okay? So we need to know what the rep is actually striving for. And then we get very granular on it and we reverse engineer it all. Because then we are the vessel that is going to be allowing them to tap into the things that they truly want in their life, okay? So this is something that is so, so, so important. And this is why that I still do a ton of coaching and I still like tap into communities and all these things, because I had a call with a woman who is in, she's kind of in like an education niche. I don't want to give too much details because privacy and stuff, but basically one closer took 21 calls last week. So a fairly full calendar, no closers, right? And then they did get 3 closers, but they only got those by her jumping in and having to close the deal. So it's like, and do you know where she got that rep from? I can't remember if she said Fiverr or Upwork, but it was one of those sites. It's baffling to me. But if you don't have those connections, then you don't have those connections. And how would you know how to get them otherwise? Every time I take over an offer, I'll tap into all of the networks that I'm a part of. I can find some of the hungriest people that you will ever meet in your life, right? It's like if there's a slab and you lift the slab off and there's just like this huge fucking golden beetle underneath. It's like, boom, you come onto this team, and then boom, we're done. We're scaled. Everything is good to go. Okay. So this is why it's so important to tap into community and actually just have like a network. And it's just crazy that some people don't understand this. Okay. This is the biggest thing that I saw. And again, what you'll start to find, and this is not me talking shit, but a little bit, because I've worked with people who do this as well, is like they'll pay a company for like sales rep placement. Yeah, I mean, like it can work. I have seen it work, but I've also seen it fail quite a lot. And the reason is because they're just kind of like a gun for hire. Compared to someone who has been in a bunch of my coaching calls or just in some of the communities that I'm heavily present in or whatever it might be, and they're like, oh shit, like I get to be a part of the team that he's running. And they're not even looking at it necessarily as like, oh, I need to only be with him. It's like, okay, cool. He's on that offer, so it must be going somewhere. So I want to be a part of that ship, right? So I might be on that offer, consult it, scale it up for 3 months, and then I'll dip. But by that point, that person that we've hired, they're bought into the brand now. They're not there only for me. Like I raised the standard, I scaled the company, not single-handedly, right? I don't have an ego, but like we've come in and we've set that new standard and that new sales process, and the pitch has been built out and everything is just good to go. And now we are cruising. Okay. So the biggest thing that I want to be able to tap into here is your understanding of what this actually means. Because if you have anything over 2 reps or more, you very likely could be in this situation where there's someone that should be making 150K a month and they're bringing in 40K a month or whatever it might be, because you're so violently prioritizing the person who is actually a headache. Now, if you genuinely have an A-player closer and you're like, they never give me a headache, they are amazing, they're coaching my setters, they're just great, amazing, good. You need to make sure that we are still doing all of these things to ensure, right, and all of this stuff to ensure that they are going even further, okay? Because it's you and you alone that dictates the results that are coming from this person, okay? We need to be able to instill a new standard within them. And without doing that, we're gonna really miss out on a lot of money, like a shit ton of money, okay? So question yourself, have you become, I'm gonna say lazy, but that might not be the case. You might just be fucking busy because you're a business owner, and I get that. But is it a case where you're like, you're kind of push them to the side to let them do their own thing because they're doing good enough? Well, good enough isn't what takes a business from, let's say you're at 50K a month. That's not what takes a business deep into, the 200K, 300K areas. Because anything up to around this point, honestly, it's just having a couple of good sales reps in place, having a good ass pitch in place, and just fucking some locked in team. Genuinely, like I've seen so many offers that are scaling up to like the 1 mil mark a month, and like they've got a good product, but they don't have anything out of this world either. all that they've got is just some very good structural things in terms of the show up rate, in terms of the eyeballs that are coming in terms of the like sales reps and what they're doing and all of this stuff. There's nothing groundbreaking about it. So for you to be able to be at this point and get to this, it isn't anything like you don't need to recraft your entire offer. You don't need to do anything that is out of this world crazy. You just need to bring on a couple of genuinely good people that are strong at what they do, that actually give a fuck, rebuild the pitch, set a new baseline of standard with the trainings, and that is easily going to be enough to bring in these things. Everything past that, there are more intricacies to it, which I've experienced countless times working with people like Iman and with Ashton and Will. Like, these guys are all at 500K a month plus. There's more to it. Right, there's a lot of things that we need to be doing at a deeper level, like a much, much deeper level, because that is about taking and optimizing. When you're at this stage, it's the difference between optimization and implementation, right? Optimizing something is like, okay, cool, we've already got something that works, we're just going to tweak it. Implementation is where you see massive jumps in your revenue. It's like, hey, we didn't have a good sales rep, now we have a good sales rep. Hey, we didn't have anything in terms of a structured pitch, now we have that. Every time you do one of those, it's a big domino, and that will be what unlocks the next level of your revenue, okay? So, appreciate everyone for watching. As always, if there's any specific topics that you would like me to go through, please let me know, because there's so many things that I do. But honestly, a lot of my trainings are on this type of thing, because if you just get these things right, that is the 100+ K a month increase on whatever you're already doing easily. Okay, but obviously we can go down more of the data and more of the tracking and all of those various types of things. But in general, this is going to be enough for you. What I'm going to quickly, as a little bonus, right, is just run you through my hiring process, okay? Because I want to make sure we've also got some extra tactical things to go through. So when I'm hiring someone, the first interview is culture, nothing else, right? Culture, vibe check. I will also do a little bit of like a baseline of skill kind of testing, just a few kind of sales type questions to see where their knowledge is at, okay? Second interview would be, this is for a closer, okay? A little bit different for appointment setter, but closers are really going to be like the main thing that I want to focus in on here. So that's the one on there. The next one is a skill test, okay? So on that second interview, I will have them fill out a personality quiz, and then we will come on to here and I will give them scenarios, i.e. things that will happen on calls or even outside of calls, right? Like in the follow-up or whatever it might be. And I will see how they navigate that. And I want to see how they do it in terms of, do they just blag it? Or are they kind of methodical? Are they like, hey, well, let me pull up a Miro board and I'm going to show you how I would do that. That's a different type of person that we're tapping into on there, okay? So that is how I would do it on there. And then from there, I will then actually give them 2 sales calls to go through. I want to see their thoughts from those sales calls, as in like levels of feedback. And then dependent on the role, I will make them do a mock call for this offer. Dependent on the role. If it's a big, big offer and I know I need to get the absolute best of the best, and they're also very aware like, hey, I'm about to join a team that's the best of the best, then I'll also make them do a mock call so that I can really see them sell this offer, okay? So that's one way, and that's how I do it right now. How I used to do it, so equally as effective, I just prefer this personally now. And the reason I think I prefer this is because I have a good network of sales reps. So I know that like I don't need to weed through the shit as much. Okay, whereas this is when I kind of did have to wade through some shit. So this is where you do a group interview and you get violent with it. Okay, this is how I was hired. This is how I've hired on other teams as well. You do a group interview, and the very first thing that we do, I'm going to run you through some magic right now. The very first thing you do, it should be you doing the interview with at least one other member of team as well who's important, some other kind of C-suite member or a leader or something, or even the other closer that maybe is on the team, whatever it might be. The first thing you do, hey guys, appreciate you all being here. Welcome to the interview, This will be very different to probably anything you've ever experienced before. The first thing that we're going to do, everyone talk amongst yourselves. Me and John on the team are going to turn off our cameras. At the end of those 2 minutes, we're going to remove 2 people. Go. It's like the Hunger Games, okay? And the reason I don't do this anymore is because, one, like I said, I have access to a better talent pool, so I kind of know they're going to be very good coming in. 2, it's a little chaotic. It's a little carnagey, right? And it's a little, I'm on the borderline of unethical. A little. Depends how you do it, okay? But anyway, once you get to the end of those 2 minutes, you're looking for the people who try to grab frame way, way, way too hard. Like, okay, guys, cool. Let's get this really ordered and structured. I'll go first, and it's like that person's not going to be a good team fit. I promise you right now. So you get rid of him, and then the other person that you get rid of is like the person who's just way, way, way too reserved. Because as a closer, you need to have some adaptability. You need to have confidence, but you can't be an egotistical little fuck. Both of those things will go badly on a sales call. Someone who's not confident at all and someone that's way too confident. Every time I've hired anyone that falls into one of those two things, absolutely abysmal. Okay, so that is how you weed out the first few people. And then obviously it depends how many people you have on there. But then the next things that you want to be doing is just have some pre-prepared sales-based questions, right? Get them to do like some objection handling, kind of live, and you just go around. And then the other thing that you can start to do is as you weed it down to 5 people or below, you can then pull them into breakout rooms and do it on an individual basis and basically have like a one-to-one with them whilst on a big group call. Really, really effective way to go through things. Will also save you a ton of time, obviously, because it's just very like, okay, I'm identifying who I could imagine on this offer. Boom, boom, boom. I'm down to 4 people. Cool. Right. Well done, guys. Congrats on making it this far. We're going to do breakout rooms with each of you individually to do a little bit of more like kind of personalized skill test for you guys and just some questions and just get more of a sense check and vibe check of you as a person. And then from there, we will decide who we want to go forward with. Now, from this, the next stage that I would do is I would bring it down to 3 people personally. Bring it down to 3, and then I do like the next one-to-one, which would probably be like the personality quiz, and just seeing how they show up on that one, because the pressure's kind of removed from this massive group. So a lot of the time, those people can be very different, which is normally a good thing. They're more comfortable and all that stuff. Okay, so that is the process that I go through when I am interviewing and hiring. Okay, like I said, right now I do number 1, but that's just because I know that anyone that's coming on an interview with me is pretty good already. Okay, so appreciate you. Peace and love. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want me to violently scale your offer, like always, hit me up. Here is someone with huge biceps, which is the person that has decided to get me in as a consultant to scale their sales team. Peace and love. I'll catch you all soon.